Welcome, everyone. I'm Kelsey Stufeld, Director of Community Investment, and I will be your host this afternoon. Thank you for joining us for this webinar. Just a couple of housekeeping items. We are going to have everyone muted for this particular webinar, but if you do have any questions throughout, you're welcome to use the attendee chat box in the upper left-hand corner, and we'll do Q&A at the end of the presentation. We're also recording this, and this will be sent to you in a couple of days along with the PowerPoint, so you can review again or share with other colleagues. And at this time, I'd love to introduce our presenter for today is Vicki Vermeer, who is the director of Dordt College Center for Economic Education. And Vicki has over 30 years of experience in a variety of business settings, from brokering cotton to nonprofit program development to owning her own business. So we look forward to hearing from her today, and we'll hand it off to you, Vicki.
Great, thanks, Kelsey. It's good to be here with you this afternoon. Teachers, today we're going to show you some resources that you can use to teach the new Iowa kindergarten standards for both economics and personal finance. The first resource that we're going to show you is for the K-10 standard. Give examples of choices that are made because of scarcity. For each standard, we're also going to have a few keywords, like for this one is choices and scarcity. These are pretty easy concepts for very young children to understand, although they may not have the vocabulary for it. For choices, of course, they make choices about what to wear, what to eat, what toys to play with. Scarcity is simply the idea that not everyone in the class can play on the swings at the same time. There aren't enough swings for that. There's a scarcity of swings. Same with everybody in the household using the restroom at the same time or something like that. You can't, there's always going to be a scarcity of things. So for illustrating this, we use The Bag I'm Taking to Grandma's by Shirley Neitzel. This young boy is packing to spend an overnight with his grandmother, and he wants to take everything in sight, and his mother encourages him to make choices. Everything that we show you is linked to the PowerPoint, so when you receive it, you should be able to access those links, including this page here. We simply put a picture of a paper bag on a sheet of paper with 9 squares, but there are 12 items that the kids can choose from. They cut them apart and make a choice of which 9 they want to take. And this also will open up a conversation then of what things they should take. It's an easy way for kids to start to understand the whole concept of scarcity. Another resource that you could use is this book. It's a Dr. Seuss book, What Pet Should I Get? There are 2 children who are in a pet store, and they have to make a decision. Which pet can they take home? They can't each get one, and they can't take everything. So this is about choices. Here there's an Econ Ed link, and that will take you to a lesson plan for this book related to it. econedlink.org is a great place to go for all sorts of lesson plans and extension activities. If you're ever looking for something at all related to economics or personal finance, that's a great place to go. When you get there for this book, What Pet Should I Get? The website will look like the box on the right, and every Econ EdLink lesson plan contains absolutely everything you need to teach the lesson, from the introduction, learning objectives, to a resource list, step-by-step process, how to teach it. There's a conclusion, an extension activity, assessment, and even related resources if you want to take it farther or go in a different direction. Very complete for each lesson that they sponsor. Okay, there's also a link there for Seussville. This is a website dedicated to Dr. Seuss's books. All things Seussical are represented here. And it's a fun place for kids to hang out and play. And there are also some worksheets that I've illustrated here. These are worksheets from the Econ EdLink website. Okay, another resource is the classic book, The Mitten. Most of you are probably familiar with this adorable book. The little boy loses his mitten in the snow, and the animals find it, and progressively larger animals crawl into it to get warm. And eventually, a tiny, tiny little brown mouse crawls in, and that's when the story reaches its funny climax. To extend this book, the reading about scarcity of space, we've included an econedlink.org lesson plan. And we've also found some links to Jan Brett drawing the different animals, some video links. There are sheets with pages of animals that the kids can color. There's a matching game, an activity where they can cut out the animals and put them in the mitten and see how many they can make fit. Lots of extension exercises and ways to tie this into an art class if that's something that would be helpful for you. Finally, we have a lesson plan called Scarcity and Resources, again linked to Econ EdLink. And what better way to teach scarcity than with the game musical chairs? Musical chairs, the whole premise is there aren't enough chairs for everybody. And so it's just a great active way to teach kids about scarcity. And we've also included here Monster Musical Chairs lesson plan tied in with that book. And the last one for this standard is Toys for Me, a lesson on choice. And there's a little poem there and an Econ EdLink resource link. You have to make choices in life. You can't have everything, and that's where this plan goes, making choices about toys. Now you're going to realize that we focus a lot on children's literature. At this age, that is one of the best ways to teach kids economics and personal finance. The storybooks have so many concepts in them that can be pulled out pretty easily. And also, what we're demonstrating here today, just remember it's a thumbnail sketch. It's just to get you thinking and to get you started, but it is not an all-inclusive, exhaustive list by any means. So let's move on to the second standard, K11, explain the difference between buying and borrowing. And this is maybe a little trickier for the little ones. Buying, of course, you get to keep it. Borrowing, you have to give it back. And to start this one, we have the book One Hen by Kate Smith Milway. This adorable book takes place in a Ghanaian village, so you get some cross-cultural tie-in there. And this mother has taken out a small loan to start a business of her own and to help the family income, and she has a few coins left over. She gives them to her young son, and he buys a chicken with it. As the chicken lays eggs, and he increases his profit, as well as the family meal and the family health by having more food to eat. He grows his own business slowly. And so the story takes him from when he's a young boy with one chicken to the point where he's a grown man with his own family and how he has helped the entire village with his few coins. One Hen actually has their own website. And so there's curriculum and resources and games listed on their website, and tie-ins with the book as well, different questions to ask and so on. For this concept, there are several other good books to use with it, and these all include lesson plans. There's Country Bear's Good Neighbor by Larry Dane Brimmer, and there's Just Shopping with Mom by Mercer Mayer, favorite with everyone. And then, of course, Sheep in a Shop by Nancy Shaw. In addition to lesson plans, each of these books has something extra. For Country Bear's Good Neighbor, we found online a Good Neighbor cake recipe that might be fun for your kids. For Just Shopping and Sheep in a Shop, we found video recordings on YouTube of people reading the stories. So that might be fun for the kids, little change of pace, if you'd like to have somebody else read the story to them. And finally, this link to Hands-On Banking. This is a free curriculum. And if you go to the section entitled You and Your Money, there are many resources there, different fun ways to extend the lesson and teach the concepts of borrowing and buying. Buying and borrowing also needs money, and so hopefully the math standards are tying into the money aspect of things, but this hands-on banking will connect both the money and the financial literacy standards. And so it kind of is a 2-for-1 there. The next standard, the final one, is K-12, distinguish between appropriate spending choices. And the keywords here are spending and choices. Choices we had previously in the first standard, and spending, of course, is included in the buying and borrowing. So this is kind of a review and an extension of the other two standards. In this book, Alexander, Who Used to Be Rich Last Sunday by Judith Fjorst, Alexander has $1 and feels like he's rich, but the money quickly begins to disappear, and he has to make choices, and the students will begin to understand planned spending and unplanned spending. For this one, there is a math extension activity that we've included. There's a lesson plan, and there's a free worksheet from Teachers Pay Teachers. For this one, Bunny Money, there's Grandma's birthday is coming up. Ruby and Max both think they know exactly what she needs, but their ideas are different, and somehow they have to come to a conclusion, a choice together. There's a scarcity here of resources, but the bears have to make a choice, and they're going to spend their money. It's an early introduction to math that might be fun for the students. There's, again, a lesson plan included, a supplemental math activity to tie in with it, and we found printable bunny money, which might be fun in your classroom to incentivize the kids in various ways. And finally, if you are looking for a full curriculum for teaching financial literacy and economic concepts, the National Council for Economic Education has published a variety of resources, including the one pictured here for grades K through 2. This is again, a full curriculum. It has activities and songs and all sorts of things to make learning fun for the kids, and you can find that on their website, which is linked to this slide. There's a free activity book, the Piggy Bank Primer. Again, money is tied into both math and personal finance. So this resource will help you with that tie-in, and it's free. You can just go online and enter your mailing information, and they will send you as many copies as you need. And then finally, there are some spending and saving resources at Practical Money Skills, which is another very helpful resource that you can tie into. Okay, we have a newsletter called Here's an Idea. And what we do is try to share helpful links and suggestions for teaching economic standards and personal finance. This comes out once a month. It's short, just 2 or 3 suggestions or ideas for each of the different grade spans from K through 2 or 3 through 5, etc., through high school and middle school. These are easy to read, they're quick, and you can browse through them very quickly. If you'd like to sign up to be on the mailing list for these, simply send me an email at vicky.vermeer@dordt.edu and just let me know. Please sign me up for the newsletter. And if you want to share this with your colleagues in other grades, feel free to do that as well. We love to share the wealth, as it were. And now we're going to have a few minutes for questions, but I just want to remind you that there is a questionnaire, a little survey. It's 1 minute is all it's going to take you to fill it out, but we'd love to have the feedback from you. And if you do enter, you will be in a drawing for a gift card with all the other attendees from this presentation today. So feel free to go to the look in the chat box, and there will be a link there, and or we can send it to you as well. But we do encourage you to participate with that survey. So now, if there are any questions, Kelsey, do we have any questions from anyone yet?
I've not seen any come through. I just sent the survey, so if people want to click on that link there, they can.
Okay.
Have not seen it come through.
So if anybody has any questions at this point, I've completed my formal talk, and feel free to enter your questions in the chat box.
We just have one come from Bob. He wants to know, where can teachers identify a list of children's literature resources?
We have a mega book list that has over 1,500 titles on it, and again, by emailing me, I can send you that spreadsheet. There are also lists of books that we can send you the links to. Econ EdLink has some. There are other resources as well, the social studies, Iowa Social Studies Teachers website has a bunch of books on it, and you can find the ones specifically for economic resources from there as well. I see another question from Connie. Are you sending us a copy of this presentation so we can use the links? Absolutely. You will, in a few days, receive not only the PowerPoint presentation, but you'll receive a recording of the talk that we just did as well. So yes, Connie, anybody who has logged into this will get a copy of the presentation and the PowerPoint. Okay, any other questions?
Okay, well, we'll take that as we'll probably wrap up here. We thank everyone for joining the webinar today, and thank you again for presenting, Vicki. We appreciate it. And again,
Absolutely.
If you have any chance to take the survey, please do. It'll be here in the chat box, and also after we close out this box. And we look forward to you joining us on other webinars.
Thank you all for attending. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.